Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at our top story this hour. Today marks 31 years of one of the most brutal crackdowns in modern history. While China has erased the Tiananmen Square massacre from its history books, there are many survivors who still remember what happened on that fateful night in 1989 when Beijing deployed tanks and opened fire on pro-democracy protesters, most of whom were just college students. So let's tell you how people across the world are commemorating the victims 31 years on. In Hong Kong, pro-democracy activists organized a performance art in a causeway bay. The project is called This Generation's June 4th and invites artists every year to commemorate the Tiananmen Square victims. The annual Vigil at Hong Kong has been banned by the government this year over social distancing fears.
係依家呢一刻，同埋我哋呢一刻嘅即係今年依家31週年六四，但係我哋其實我哋嗰個六四當年嘅事情，依家其實喺香港發生緊。咁我哋依家想呈現嘅係呢啲嘢咯，即係咁嗰陣時被打壓咗，咁可能我哋跟住嚟緊，我哋香港都會係呢啲咁嘅情況出現。咁呢啲言論自由或者係你所有你嘅創作自由啊，即係可能我哋會受到打壓。咁我哋想呈現嘅係呢啲嘢咯。
On your screens now are the visuals from Victoria Park. This is where the annual candlelight vigil is usually held, but today it has been barricaded. Pictures of people kneeling in front of the barricades are going viral on social media. This year's anniversary is even more poignant as it comes at a time when Hong Kong's autonomy is being eroded by China's new security laws. In South Korea, activists assembled outside the Chinese embassy in Seoul. They paid tribute to the Tiananmen Square victims and offered their support to the pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen took to Twitter to remember the victims of Tiananmen Square. She said that there was a time when June the 4th was missing from Taiwan's calendar. President Tsai Ing-wen said that her country had worked hard to bring back these missing days and expressed hope that China will one day do the same. Earlier, we spoke to former Hong Kong lawmaker Emily Lau from Hong Kong. Listen in.
Well, I think this is absolutely disastrous. Today is June 4th, and 31 years ago, there was a massacre in Beijing, and nobody knows how many people were killed. And in the past 30 years, Hong Kong people have been able to go to Victoria Park in the evening to light their candles to commemorate the dead, and of course to say that they want the whole thing investigated. But this time round, the government is hiding behind the COVID-19, the pandemic, and say that people should not gather in big numbers. And the park has been closed off. And so we don't know what will happen tonight. Maybe people will still go there, and there may be violent confrontations with the police. And I hope people will not be injured or be killed. But it is already sending a very negative signal to the world that Hong Kong people are losing our freedoms, including the freedom to gather in a peaceful and orderly and non-violent way. And it's something that we have been doing for 30 years. But now, on the eve of the central government foisting a national security law on Hong Kong, our freedoms are already vanishing very fast. Of course it's possible. I think we should not rule anything out regarding the Chinese Communist Party. They are capable of anything. And it is very sad. And that's the reason why people in Hong Kong are so angry and also so terrified. And people are trying to flee, to get citizenship of other countries so that they can have a lifeboat if things go very wrong. But we certainly don't hope that, this vigil will never be held in Hong Kong again. So we will continue to push and to struggle. But if it doesn't happen again, because the communists are cracking down on our freedoms, I would not be surprised, but I would be very angry. Well, I certainly hope that this national security law will not be the beginning of the end of Hong Kong. We will fight very hard to try to maintain our freedoms. We've never had democracy. We didn't have it under British colonial rule, and we still don't have it under Chinese rule. But we enjoy freedoms, the rule of law, personal safety, independence of the judiciary. And these are things that the Hong Kong people cherish. So we don't want them to disappear. But if the national security law comes in and we have people from mainland China coming in to enforce the law, to arrest people, to tap our phones, to get our personal data and all that, then of course, Hong Kong as a free city is finished. We will be just another Chinese city, and we don't want that. And I just met with a friend from the business community who has links with Beijing, and he's very optimistic. He kept telling me that, oh no, Emily, don't be worried. Everything will be okay. I mean, Hong Kong, we can survive this. We survived the Beijing massacre in 1989. We survived other crises, and Beijing does not want to kill Hong Kong. So I said, well, I hope you're right. So, I mean, it's up to Beijing. They can kill it, or they can be a bit, lenient.